Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So from today on, as I told you, I'll be taking the recorded session of editorial for all of you to see let's how it works. So today's article that I have picked up is from your Financial Express newspaper. So I'll go directly to the PPT here. This one is your article. Now you have technical words here which I will also explain you, so don't worry about it. Okay. Yeah, this one is today from Financial Express. I have picked up an article from Financial Express, right? Now guys, obviously I will be explaining you in English only, simple English, not very complicated. That is what is the goal here, to understand English in English. That is my concept, but simple terms, right? So let's start. So first is widening trade deficit. Now you all know that first thing which we have to understand is what is trade deficit. When I talk about trade deficit, what does it mean? Because that is our topic. Okay, whenever we say trade deficit means what is more, our imports are more than our exports, right? So any country, if we say trade deficit here, a situation in which the value of goods a country imports is greater than the value of goods it exports. Okay, so that is widening. The trade deficit is increasing. Okay, that is what is the topic today. It is widening, meaning it is increasing. The value, if you calculate the difference between the country's imports and its exports, okay, there has been a widening trade deficit, meaning where we lack the capacity to produce our own products. We are exporting so much, it is increasing, right? Increasing. We are not able to produce our own products, we are more and more importing. Okay, so I'll give you 2 minutes. Just read this para. By that time, I will write the meanings and then I will explain. Okay, so India's trade deficit widened, it increased to record levels in April or May. Okay, when I say record levels, means something which was recorded in the past, great levels, which was not uh, uh, okay, which was not normal, like something which is already recorded, great, highest level. Basically record level means record high, we say highest levels. This fiscal, okay, if we calculate the complete 1 year, the fiscal year, we say the fiscal year, the complete 1 year, right? Fiscal is a time period usually when we mention, right? This fiscal means when we talk about taxes and the calculation of taxes, the total year we consider budgetary year. Now guys, you understand that this has widened, increased. Why this happened? Thanks to what thanks to, when we say, it is the result of the rapidly increasing commodity prices. Oil prices have increased, commodity prices have increased because of the war that happened in Ukraine, which pressure the current account of a country, which where when you know what is happening, like the whole current expenses plus investments, okay, imports exports of goods and services, everything is shown in current account. When we talk about particularly imports of goods and services, in current account, whatever payment we made to foreign investors, uh, giving financial help, everything in current account. So this is the broadest measure of India's goods, and see here it is written, when we talk about account, it includes everything. Broadest measure means including all, includes everything, to measure India's goods and services transactions with the rest of the world. How we transacted with the world, current account shows that, right? So India's exports increased by 25%. That is a good thing. But the problem is that Imports were even higher by 45%, is it increased if we talk about April to May financial year 2022. So deficit means the amount of money which is less than the money you have spent. Okay, the deficit is wherein your expenditure becomes more than your income. So that has doubled. Okay, right? Even the latter marks a five-fold increase. Okay, so when we talk about latter, it is the opposite of former. Whenever we talk about two things, right? For example, if both goods and services are taken into account, if even if both goods and services are considered, okay, here latter will refer to services, right? So the deficit more than doubled, although it was much less if both goods and services are taken into account, but there has still been increase from the earlier year when we talk about services. Latter is for services. Clear? So this is the second para. Quickly read. I'll mark or write your meanings here. Okay. The burgeoning, very important word, burgeoning means something growing rapidly, flourishing. The burgeoning, increasing deficit, okay, lack, when your income is less. That increasing less of income, right, reduction in income, deficit, comes from costlier oil prices. Why this is happening? Oil prices have increased. Okay, the average crude basket was up, okay, by two-third. It has increased. When we talk about crude basket, please remember it is used as an indicator of the price of crude imports in India. Okay, so whenever we have price problems in the country, we see the crude basket. Okay, on the website it is updated. So when you say the prices of oils have increased, that are a part of our basket. Okay, indicator, it is basically when you read about crude basket, it shows, it indicates, it gives a signal of the crude imports in India. And we say crude imports, the oil imports that we talk about, right? What we import. So that has increased. Okay, the prices of oil has increased, okay, per barrel from year before. And it has serious consequences. Consequences means impact, results. Okay, we import 85% of our oil requirement, which is a huge amount, right? So a general rule, rule of thumb is a general rule, a broad, accurate principle, which we talk about. We say rule of thumb, right? Uh, you can say, yeah, something which is based on practice, okay, rather than theory. What from based on experience, we have a particular rule, a rule of thumb, that every increase in global prices by $10 raises the current account deficit. This is normal, which happens normal, we have seen from experience, rule of thumb. Okay, that if global prices increase by $10 a barrel, then what happens? The impact is on CAD, current account deficit. So the deficit is expected to double according to the rating agency, providing a financing of which could be worrisome. So if you give money for that oil, it will be very, very causing worry, because FDI's portfolio investments are not at exact level at which we expect. India has more than enough forex reserves. Now that this is one thing we do have, like if we talk about particularly India does have forex reserves, right? More than enough forex reserves, right? So that is one thing which we can be comfortable with, India can be comfortable with. We have assets, okay, which our central bank has in other countries. So foreign currency assets are there with India. Okay, foreign currency assets held by the central banks. Here, central bank RBI, right? So whether you talk about SDRs or you talk about securities, which you read in GA or current affairs also, we have that, right? We have sufficient forex reserves. But still, overall, if you say FDIs are less, right? They're not at expected level. So this price is going to hit oil price. Now, what to do further, which is a good method. What can we do further? You can read here. Okay. So the most efficient policy response, how to deal with this imbalance, trade imbalance. We should have a trade policy which is not restricted, not limited, which is emphasized by an economic advisor. He is Shankar Acharya. Okay, in his writings, he has said this: in today's environment where everybody is trying to, of course, protect their own industry by taxing foreign goods, okay, that is rising in power. Countries are convinced to actually put bans, resort to bans means use this method of banning exports to increase their domestic availability and to cool down inflation. Okay, there has been significant increase, you can see, in India's imports tariffs, taxes since financial year 15, okay, which impacts trade expansion. So he says that trade should not be so restricted, so limited. In today's time, every country is trying to be using protectionism. This is the act of protecting their own country. They tax foreign goods so that less, imports happen, because, and they put bans, right, on exports to increase the domestic availability, right? They put bans, they put tariffs to control inflation. Everybody's doing that. Okay, even there has been a significant considerable increase in India's imports. So in today's time like this, we he says that we should not limit trade, we should have an open trade policy. Next para. Now very important grammar, peaked at, okay, maximum potential, reached at. Peaked at is simple, reached at a particular amount. Okay. So the interesting step the country made toward a more liberal, you can say when there was freedom given, liberal trade regime, 90s. This was the period in the 1990s. It was shown in the increase in the goods and services trade in GDP. It reached at 55.7%. And from then, since then means from the since this period, in from financial year 13, okay, and especially since this period, financial year 15, this has decreased. Okay, so it was huge increase in the trade, but then it decreased in financial year 20. The pandemic also led to decreases in the both exports and imports, then was returning back to the normal condition in 22. Okay, when the trade increased in GDP, okay, a share of trade in GDP rose to 44%. Now continuing this upward trend, uptrend means upward trend, upward tendency, this should be a policy priority. This should be given importance and includes, and this also includes discontinuing the tariffs, the taxes. Since that we have increased the taxes since financial year of 15, we should discontinue them. This should be the priority, the importance given. We should discontinue putting, taxes on the imports, right? And we should obviously continue with this upward tendency wherein increase the share of trade. Okay, increase in trade should be continued. Okay, next one. So we have last two paras quickly. On the export front, what are we doing as a country? What is India doing in the export front? Okay, India has pushed ambitious. We have huge targets. Okay, there is a higher level of ambition in inking. When you ink, guys, you sign a contract, sign a deal. Deep free trade agreements in contrast means opposite to the earlier uncertainty we have. Earlier we were not sure, there was uncertainty, we were not clear about what to do. Okay, but now we are moving forward with free trade agreements, right? So a comprehensive means a complete, detailed economic partnership with the UAE and an economic cooperation with the Australia have been signed, and there are other deals also which we are negotiating. So we are coming up with more deals. Earlier we were not sure, but in contrast we are now coming up with deals with other countries, deals. Okay, we have also decided to join, India has decided to join the US led Indo-Pacific economic framework with other countries. Okay, all of this is to be welcomed as it opens up the prospect, it opens up the chance, the prospect means is it opens up the possibility of India, okay, participating in global supply chains. Okay, but it calls for, we need, calls for is a phrase meaning it demands, we need reforms, tax reforms, tariff reforms, because our taxes, duties that we pay, the taxes that we pay are much higher, that we charge are much higher than its current and prospective possible FTA partners. Okay, we should be more careful of our past experience. Our negotiations must include a process of good, include, entail means include a process of give and take. Okay, so it should be like mutual, right? It should be a process of give and take. We should not charge so much, and this can be made easy, provided, facilitated by, provided by open and unlimited, restricted means, unrestricted means without limitations, a trade policy which is without limitations. It is surely the way forward. So if you want to move forward, if India wants to move forward, it definitely should not put so much restrictions, right? It should not put so much restrictions. It should act according to the previous negotiations, of it should keep in mind the past experiences. Okay, so when you say free trade agreement partners, there are many. Prospective means possible free trade agreement partners, okay, who will not charge so much as India. So India should be careful. Okay, it should be give and take, right? And this give and take means with different countries, give and take policy means where people respect each other's rights, each other's needs. India should also understand other countries' needs, and it should be a thing of give and take, right? So we need, as India needs to definitely have a trade policy which is not limited, and that is the way to go forward. So This was overall suggestive, okay, and also about trade deficit, how it has explained completely explanatory about India's trade deficit. Plus, definitely last para was suggestive for India, what can be the way forward. Grammar lesson. Now, guys, very important grammar lesson. First thing here, peaked at, you know, I think I underlined this also for you. Peak at means a particular, when we're talking about here, reached at a level. So one thing, peaked at. This is the preposition we use to make you understand. This is for reached at this level. Reach at. Okay. Clear. This was one very, very obvious lesson, grammar lesson. Also, when we talk about years, 1990s, okay, we put a small s. The plural, if we write for year, here, for example, during this time, 1990s, we put a small s, the plural of the year. Now, vocabulary, but before coming to the vocabulary, idiom, I have to tell you the phrases that we learned. Rule of thumb, very common one, you should all know. Then we had give and take. Yeah, okay. These two majorly, and the other technical terms that you must know: fruit basket, okay, trade deficit, give and take, okay. Both of these, which you need to mention in the comments. Okay, I have these two also: monsoon jitters from the Hindu and inflation tightrope from Indian Express, that you must read from today's newspapers. Coming to your quickly the vocabulary which we learned. Okay, first word, protectionism. It is a noun word, you can say from the ending also, ending from the suffix you can make out. Protectionism means here, it is a noun word. The principle, or you can also say practice of protecting a country's own industry by taxing foreign goods. Efficacious, we need an efficacious policy. So what was efficacious here? Efficacious meaning efficient, okay. Effective, effective, it's an adjective. Unrestrictive, without restrictions, something which is not limited. Unrestrictive means not limited, adjective. Not limited, not limited, not restricting, giving this freedom, giving the scope, okay. Ambi is a root word, guys, because ambi means two. So any word with ambi will have the meaning of dual or two in it. Now, what is the context here? If I say ambivalence, there is uncertainty, because we can make out we have mixed feelings. There is uncertainty. Ambivalence is a state where there is confusion, two opposing feelings or uncertainty about something. Ambi means two. So uncertainty, we are feeling, we are having two opposing feelings at the same time. So that is why uncertainty. Okay, very important word, burgeoning. The burgeoning middle class, like we say. So the growing, the flourishing. Burgeoning, here it means flourishing, increasing rapidly. Next, skyrocketing. Again, where the prices are too high. Skyrocketing is also a verb. Underscored is emphasized. When you underscore mean you underscored, draw a line, highlight, emphasize. Sustaining, continuing with the trend, continuing. Inking, again a verb. Signing a contract, signing a deal. Okay. Ascendant is in ascendant means like as a noun we used it. Okay. Is in the rise. Is in the rising, actually adjective, rising in power. Ascendant, rising in power. Becoming increasingly successful. Something which is becoming increasingly successful. Rising in only power, or you can also say increasingly becoming successful. So these are very important words. Now I know this was a little technical para today, but this is a level probably I would like to discuss, because easy ones you can all get it by your own. So guys, question of the day, this is the phrases. Please do like, share and subscribe. And daily I'm going to post this. Any kind of feedback, please do mention in the comments. On Olive Board, as you know, I teach English. My new course starts from 23rd, mains level English course. And anything you buy on Olive Board, please use my code, which is Harshita, Harshita. Thank you.